When I look up Native American clothing on Google, it comes up with sexy Pocahontas dresses. I'm friends with a descendant of Pocahontas, not being her real name. And she was our first missing murdered Indigenous women, and it's not the story that I grew up in England watching on the television. So we have tribal police where I'm from, and those tribal police cannot go off of our land to question anybody. So it's a perfect hotspot for any weirdos to come over and hurt our women and go off the state, and we can't chase them. However, the government police, they can come onto our land and question whenever we like. We're trying to say that genocide hasn't never stopped. It didn't stop 100, 200 years ago. It's in paperwork now. But this story, hopefully, is some inspiration about some new change and the new way forward. So once upon a time, I sit and count kilos. There was the animals, the two-leggeds, the winged creatures, all the different creatures that were around. And they all lived in this one tribe on this piece of land. Across from this piece of land was some water and another island. The chief of these animals was Bear. Bear stands for the sign of courage. I don't know if you've ever fancied fighting a bear, but you'd need a downside of courage to do it. So anyway, up in the sky, there's two thunderbirds, and they bring with them the seasons. They come in the spring and they leave in the autumn. Where I'm from is Tornado Valley, Tornado Alley, and we have some of the most extreme seasons that results in some of the hugest tornadoes known. My granddad's place is actually in the Twister movie that came out not long ago. Anyway, so up in the sky is these two thunderbirds, and they're so in love, and they have all these sexy times, and they have so many babies. Now when you hear that rolling of the thunder, it's because the eggs are rolling on the top of those clouds, and you hear that rumble. And sometimes they have so many eggs up there that one will fall off the clouds. And the father, he's such an example of what a father should be. He flies so swift and so fast to catch those babies that he leaves the trail of lightning behind him. Now one day, there's this tree stump in the island across from the animals, and one day they saw this lightning come down, bang, and start the first ever fire known on this earth, in that tree stump. Bear said, ooh, here's the power of the fire, and it's called a powwow. Well, powwow is a circle where you can talk about important things. There's no corners to hide in, everybody is equal. We called this power, and he said, right, so this fire has started. With this we may see light. With this we may be warm. We may be able to cook. Who here can go and retrieve the power of this fire for us? Now he said, before I ask, I would be no good chief if I didn't have the courage to be the first one. So Bear, he swam over that water. He went to where that tree so much to eat that winter. He was a bit tubby and he got himself stuck in the middle of that tree stump. All that smoke and all that dust covered him, and he became the black bear that we know today. His relation was the white bear at the beginning, so that's how black bear came to be. But he thought, forget this. And he went all the way back across the water, he went back to his people, and they said, who are you? He said, I'm Bear, but I got stuck in this fire, and look what's happened to me now. So he called this powwow once again. So who here has the power to go and receive this fire for us? The next voice that popped up was Crow. He said, yes, Crow, you, the power of beauty, you are the one that can receive this fire for us. And Crow, I don't know if you know, back in the day, his wings, all of the feathers were rainbow coloured, and he had the most beautiful singing voice. Anyway, he flew over that water just fine from where the tree stump was. He just went at it like Bear, he just went straight boom in there, got caught with his beak in there. Inhaled all that smoke, he's not such a good singer anymore. He got covered in all that soot. He thought, forget this. So he flew back home across the water. And when he got back, they said, who are you? He said, I'm Crow, but this is what the fire's done to me. The Bear sent him off with the medicine man for him to be healed. He's okay. He doesn't seem so good, but you'll see him around. Anyway, so they called out again. Bear called out, well, who here has the power to receive this fire for us? Then the next voice that popped up was Owl. He said, yes, Owl, the bringer of life and death. It's known that if one sits on your roof, a sweet child, that you may have illness or death coming to your family. They won't have to be seen during COVID years, I can tell you that. Anyway, so he said, yes, Al, you go over there with the power of life and death and receive this fire for us. So Al flew over that water, went to where the tree stump is, thought, I'm not going to do the same as Crow did. So he looked through some knots that were in the tree, see that fire inside, and it went bang, crash, and his eyes went wide open, and he's looking around all the time, worried about it now. He won't even come out in the daylight because of that big ball of fire that's in the sky. It just comes out at night. A bit PTSD, if you ask me. But anyway, he thought, forget this, and he flew all the way back, and they said, who are you? He said, I'm Al, but this fire, it got me and bang, crack in my eyes, and oh my gosh. The bear said, right, send him off to the medicine man. So he went off, and he's okay. You'll see him hanging around in the dark now. Anyway, so he said, okay, Bear. He said, okay, so you, Al's here, may have the power to receive this fire for us. So the next voice that harped up was Raccoon. He said, yes, Raccoon with the power of trickstiness. You go over there and receive this fire for us. The Raccoon, he did. He swam across that water and he went to where the tree stump was. He thought, I've been watching these others and not going to make the same mistake. So he looked through the knots as well and bang, crack. That was that same mistake. He wears that black soot mask that he has today. He thought, I am the trickster. I cannot go back empty-handed. So I'm going to sit on the top of this tree stump. I'm going to hang my tail in, and I'm going to grab a little ember and bring it up that way. So he tried that. He stuck his tail in, and he got those circles burnt on his tail from the rings of the tree. Whilst he was trying to do it, woo, it was on fire on the end. So he popped out of there, ran to the water. Put that out, oh my gosh, but forget this, he went all the way home. They said, who are you? He said, well, I'm Raccoon, but this fire, it done this to me, and now, and Bear sent him off with the medicine man. He caught another power, so who here has the power to receive this fire for us? This little tiny voice popped up, said, me. Bear laughed, who are you? I can't even see you step forward. Little water spider stepped forward. He said, me, let me have a go. The bear laughed. I'm Bear with the sign of courage. We've had Crow with the sign of beauty. We've had Owl, the bringer of life and death. We've had Raccoon with the bringer of trickstiness. You, little water spider, what do you think you can do? He said, oh, just let me try. Bear laughed. I'll let you try only so I can laugh at you when you come back with nothing. We can all laugh. So anyway, turned out the water spider was a pretty dandy swimmer and he swam across there in no time. Anyway, he wouldn't quite like the others, like Bear said, but he'd been listening and he'd been watching and he'd been thinking. These skills are valuable. He thought, I'm just going to sit here and I'm going to connect with the earth. So we spent some time connecting with the earth and he made the first ever bowl. And it fit really nice on his back too, and it cooked perfect next to that first fire. We're very famous for pottery at the Choctaw. Anyway, so after he made that bowl, he decided to make a little lid, and that sat on the bowl perfectly, and it cooked just good next to that fire. Really great. That was the first of the bowl with the lid. Anyway, whilst he's sitting there thinking about this, he's looking at that hole in the clay where he'd been digging and made that pottery. He thought, I know. Maybe if I go underneath and I go through that hole, I can collect a little ember and I can take that with me. So he did that. He went down in that little hole and he got this ember and it was hot. Oh my gosh, it was so hot. But as he gave it more oxygen, it got bigger and it began to speak and it started to say, feed me, feed me. He said, what should I feed you? He said, sticks and leaves, sticks and leaves. So he gave him them sticks and leaves, he got bigger, and he said, feed me, feed me. He gave him more sticks and leaves, he began to roar as he was bigger, feed me, feed me. It got a bit scary. He thought, you know what, I'm going to stop feeding you at the moment, and that fire shrunk all the way back down into that ember. When it was in that ember, he quickly put that back in his bowl that he'd made, and he put the lid on top, and he put it on his back, and he swam like nothing across this water, and he got back, and there's Bear. The water line waiting for him. Little water spider. Got the fire, have we? He said, hang on. He got that bowl off of his back. He took the lid off and in there was that ember still. He got it out and he remembered. Oxygen. And you remember sticks and leaves and sticks and leaves, and it got bigger and bigger. It started to roar, and it was bigger than Bear. The bear said, "Wow, little water spider." I'm going to call a powwow. That's why you did. You called a powwow to remind everybody, no matter how small you think you are, no matter how unheard your voice may be, no matter whether people notice you or whether they don't, you have the power to change a whole nation of people. Now, where I come from in Oklahoma, we carry a fire in our headquarters. Our headquarters, I guess, a bit like Buckingham Palace or something. We're a sovereign nation too, and this fire, it burns, and it burns from the day that my granny was on the Trail of Tears as a child. They carry the staff every night, they bang it into the ground. Whatever way that staff leaned was the way Jehovah, the sun, that fire, was calling us to be. And when it stood up straight, Chief Choctaw decided to call it Oklahoma. And that's where our home is today, and we carry that fire to remind everybody, no matter how unheard your voice may be, no matter how small you may be, you have the power to change a whole nation of people. Yeah, Koki, thank you, that is 11,000 years old, that story, with some added information about the headquarters we are at today. I plan to go over November 1st.